was running for office, I did not have health care. I ran for office completely uninsured. And there were, at the time, while I was fighting for health care for others, I felt embarrassed to share this publicly. I felt, again, that people would think I was not qualified to run for office if I didn't have health care or if I was struggling to pay my rent. But the fact of the matter was, I understood what people were going through precisely because of what I had been enduring. But it was hard. It was just, I'll tell you, it was just 2 or 3 weeks before my primary election. And I had gone to a doctor to get a checkup. And that's the thing, when you don't have health insurance, every ache, every toothache, every joint fills you with terror and wonder, because you know that you can't really afford to see a doctor very much, and you don't know if there's something wrong or not. And so I had mustered up the courage to get a physical. And thankfully, my doctor had felt, we think everything is fine, but we just want to run a blood test to make sure. And I was in that exam room, and I just started to cry. I put my head in my hands, and I started to cry because I couldn't afford a blood test. And they said, well, we think there's this free clinic where medical students will run some basic tests like these on the weekends, on a Saturday or a Sunday. And there's no list, there's no reservation, you just have to show up. So I'm running for office, I'm a candidate for Congress. And I show up at 7 o'clock in the morning to get in line for a clinic that opens at 8 a.m. And I get there, and I just have to wait. You just have to wait. And it felt just like my friends that I had worked with at the restaurant. There was a woman who was pregnant, and because she was from the UK, she didn't have access to healthcare here. And so she just waited at free clinics for all her prenatal care. And this is the country that we are living in right now. We have to really see and hear these stories to understand the stakes of this moment. And so I get in, I wait hours in this clinic, and there are volunteers knocking doors with palm cards with my face on it. It was a very complicated feeling. It was a very complicated feeling. But also, it's also the source of the energy, and it's the source of why we fight for these things so hard. Because when you've been there, you understand better than anyone else, better than any white paper, better than any statistic. Because when this bill is scored, and it says that there are 17 million Americans who will be kicked off of their health insurance because of it, we know what that means. We know that it's resources like that will be flooded. And we know the stakes of it in that moment too. And so I wanted to make sure that we set that stage, because when we ask these questions, it's okay to say, I'm asking for me. I want to know for my sister. I know that my neighbor is dealing with this. And how do we come together to best fight and respond? Not just react, but respond on our front foot forward.